Hello, welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 180.
Yeah.
It is November 4th, Wheezy's birthday. My father's birthday is this week. It is on the 7th. You should totally spam his Facebook. His name is Jim Linneman with all kinds of birthday wishes. Yes. He is going to be 59, almost 60. That is his name. My name is Laura Linneman.
I was waiting for that part.
Did you like how I did that? Also known as Lala. That's your turn.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, and we're recording a day late, which to you probably means nothing, but it means we're both a little off. Me especially, because it's been a long day at work, and my son had a crap day at school.
Uh-oh.
And I still got to do dinner.
Uh-oh.
So,
I did Subway for dinner. It was delicious.
we don't really have many of those here. I mean, there are, but not a ton. But anyway, because this is not a show about food.
And if it was, we'd be screwed. Because
Works in
pizza fondue is
progress.
all I got.
Seriously. I'll show y'all mine because I'm at a stopping point on
Okay.
all of them. So the first is my Miranda sweater, and it's living in one of my Seashore Sharon bags.
Cute.
And it's one of those where there's a lot of at the same time.
Yeah.
So do this at the same time, do this at the same time, do this.
Stand on a head at the same time.
Yeah,
It's
which
moving
mainly
backwards.
leads to failure on my part. So I ended
Aw.
up just creating a little spreadsheet that says on this row, do this in the main section, this in the cabled section, and just
Look at
marking it off.
you. You're so fancy.
Yeah, really fancy. And I'm using some deep stash from Mama Linneman's stash. And this was, it's an Aran Weight, Nature's Touch. It's New Zealand wool. And I'm about halfway through the second, well, maybe not halfway, maybe not even close to halfway through the second ball. I thought I was a lot further than I was. I haven't knit on this for several days.
Wow, but that's still pretty far, because those are very big balls.
They are large balls. I like big balls. Alright, so this is,
Look at you.
it started the increasing on this little center section.
How cute for the pockets.
Yes, you can do with or without pockets. I'm doing it with pockets. And, yeah, and that's on size 9s, I think.
Because you're making pockets, can I go up to you and say, what does it have in its pockets multiple times? Because I'm totally going to do that.
I might reflexively smack you. I don't know. This is a kind of a hairy wool. I would not say it's next to the skin soft, but I plan on wearing a long sleeve shirt under it anyway, so that's totally fine.
Yeah, I would say it's more of like a Romney.
Yeah. It's not in the merino, it's in the,
It's in the medium to
Medium.
long wool
yeah.
classification, I would say.
And I love this bag because I can just dump everything in and close it up.
Always good.
The second thing that I'm working on, I had finished the first one last week. This is my Fish Knits Intentional Flashing Yarn in the Pretty Bird colorway.
So pretty.
And it's just a plain stockinette sock with a fish lips kiss heel. And I started the second one. I haven't knit on it much. This past week has been busy. But this is what's left of my cake. And I just finished the ribbing and started the stockinette section. I took it with me to the movies last night because I thought I was going to be able to knit in the movies, and I ended up not.
How was Ender's Game? Did you enjoy it?
I've read the book. It's by Orson Scott Card, and it's a 4-part series. Ender's Book is the first, Speaker for the Dead is the second, Xenocide, and then I think Children of the Mind is the last one. And the first one is more like military strategy based, and so it was my least favorite of all of the books. But the movie was okay. I mean, they left some things out. They had to for time, but it was overall it was okay. And Kobe went and he liked it okay.
Good.
The third thing I'm working on is out of Dragonfly Fibers Pixie, which is their single
So
ply
pretty.
base in the Starry Night colorway. I'm doing this for a friend of mine, and it's huge. This is about half of it. The short row part is done, and now I've got where I'm knitting an edge on And you're supposed to knit this edge for about 2.5 inches. I might knit it a little further than that because I still have quite a bit of yarn left. But
Yeah.
there's several hundred stitches on this. I would guess probably 500 or more stitches on the row at this point. So it's just taken a while.
Yeah.
But it's a modified version of Shawl That Jazz by Samantha Roshak. She wrote it for DK, and I'm knitting it in a fingering weight. So I just modded some numbers. And I'm enjoying it. I don't mind garter stitch. It's a lot of it, though. But
It
it's
is
so
quite
pretty.
a bit. It is pretty. I like the colors a lot. And I know the person who's getting it will enjoy it immensely.
Yeah, so that's what I've been working on. I would like to have this shawl finished by next week. And so it's what I'm going to focus on until I finish it. And then I'll probably pick up. I want to knit all the things right now. I have so much mojo and not enough hands to knit. But
You need to clone yourself. What was that movie with like Michael Keaton where he cloned himself? Do you remember that?
Oh god.
90s.
And every one of them was stupider than the last. Oh, Multiplicity maybe?
Because when you make a copy of a copy, it's never quite as clear as the original. Yeah.
And the fourth one was the stupidest one. I remember that movie. I think it was Multiplicity.
It's so true though. When you make a copy of a copy, it's definitely not as clear as the original. Just thinking of like copies, like with school, when you utilize the copier.
You can always tell when it's a copy of a copy.
Yes. Especially if it was uncolored. The first original was on colored paper. Death to that.
Yeah.
Never gonna end well.
That's all of my works in progress, and I have no FOs, so it's all you for a while.
Oh, fun. Well, I don't have a whole lot because I haven't had a whole lot of knitting time. Most of my knitting time has been, I don't even know, catching bits and pieces of time here and there. I think would be a good way of saying it. Like 30 minutes at a faculty meeting, you know, bits and pieces. No more than 30 minutes a day, I would say. But I did manage to get, I'm not going to put on a sock blocker because it doesn't have a heel yet. I'm doing Afterthought heel socks out of Yarntini Sport in the home colorway. And this is the first one.
And you had just started the toe last week, right? Or was that the second one?
No, I was up to here, I think.
Maybe it was a couple episodes ago. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was 2 episodes ago.
All right.
So, and it's on size 2 needles, which are 2.75. Yep. So, it's going pretty fast when I have time to knit on them. I did get to this part at work, the top cuff, and I used our postage meter scale to determine if I had enough yarn to start the second, because that's how I roll.
Nice.
So there's the Afterthought heel line on this one, and for the ribbing, what I did was anytime the color changed, I just knit that round so I wouldn't get the little blips of color.
Versus Knit 2 Purl 2.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I just started the second one over the weekend. When I took my Patsy Z class, we had like, you know, half an hour here while she showed a technique or did slides, or she did a bunch of slides. So during that time, it was like the life cycle of the silkworm. And I texted Leslie and tried to get her to grow silkworms, and we could have a segment called Worm Watch, and she won't do it.
Not gonna
Makes
happen.
me so sad.
Do you know how many animals I have in this house? I do not need to add more.
But they're worms. They can't take up that much space. They take up lots of space.
Not gonna do it.
Anyway, and this is the second one, and I just put in the Afterthought heel line, and because I was up here, and I had just 2 little bits of yarn and I was lazy, half of my Afterthought heel line is red, and the other half is yellow. And I kind of want to see how it turns out with, like, I left tails long enough where it's not going to go through, hopefully, and lose a stitch, but even if it does, I'll pick it up. But I'm curious to see how that works out. Because guarantee I'm going to be lazy sometime in the future and not want to have to walk downstairs to get waste yarn. Because my purse is downstairs where these live. And usually I do have waste yarn. But here I just had scraps of my last finished pair of socks as I was weaving in ends. And was too lazy to throw them in the trash can, which is behind me. They were sitting on the table, so I used those instead. So they're about that far So to go, and I know I have enough yarn to do the rest of the sock, the body of the sock, but I might not have enough to do
Heels.
the heels. So I'm gonna have to think creatively on that, because I don't know if I have any tight twist sport weight sock yarn in a color that would go with these. But so that's the first thing. And the second thing I haven't even knit on, but I'm pulling them out of the unfinished object bin because I am going to knit on them. And they are very far. That's the second one. They are some socks I started years ago, and the reason why they are not done is because it was a pattern I designed for the Hank of Yarn Sock Club, and it was kind of a last minute deal. And so I knit the first one and photographed the first one and had the pattern test knit and never knit the second one. So before I put the second one for sale on Ravelry, I want to have a matching pair because I want to make sure that A, the photographs look nice, but B, it works out. It will work out correctly because I've had it test knit several times. But
What's
that's just
the pattern
me.
Called?
It is Autumn Ablaze. And it's out of Abstract Fiber Arts, and I'm guessing these are 1.5, so I'll have to look up what they are. But I'd like to release the pattern for sale, and I'm doing a sock knitting cal in the Lala Knits group with all my sock patterns being 20% off through November 15th. So, and there's a coupon code there in the Lala's Knits group. So there's a cal going on, so and you can use works in progress on the cal.
Cool.
So this is my work in progress, so I want to get it finished for the knit along.
I think I have that pattern. I think I got that kit.
Yeah, I bet you did. And it's so funny because I just pulled this out, and there's like this little ball here, and there's a little ball here, and there's a little ball here, so I don't know what happened. Because that was a while ago.
Maybe it was a tangle or something.
I have no idea, but there's lots of little balls, so that'll make it more interesting. And it's in a very old Mad Hatter bag that I got from Wool Girl when I was a member of one of her clubs. So, but there's the first one. It's cute, and I want to wear these because it's fall. And I like the slip stitch detail. It's very cool. So, I want to release it.
So because people are going to ask, is the sweater that you're wearing hand knit or?
It is not. It is store-bought from Target, probably around 10 years ago. So
Very
sorry. You can't get it. It's cotton too. But yeah, it's store-bought.
Well, I don't have any FOs, do you?
I do, as I take a sip of my tea. So, hanging out in my seashore sharing bag. I still have to weave in the ends on one pair. But my main morning mitts are done, complete with 2 thumbs. So...
And you were doing sort of an informal knit along with Mel, right?
Yeah, I don't know if Mel finished.
I don't know if she finished either. She should because it's really cold where she lives now.
Apparently. It's like 60 today.
Yeah.
Snow's gonna start coming soon.
Yeah, I know. She texted me this morning and said she was cold, and I was like, it was 34 when I sent Kobe to the bus stop, and he griped because I made him wear a hat.
Aw, that's so cute. Anyway, these are my main morning mitts gloves. I'll just tuck in the ends. We'll pretend like they got actually sewn in, which they did not. I knit these yesterday. I finished the second one. Mama Linneman was driving someplace and I was riding with, so I got to knit a little bit in the car, which was a nice little thing. And I knit on these a little bit in the Patsy Z workshop, and just, these go really, really fast. If I sat down and knit these, they would have been super, super fast. And these are going in the Christmas box, so that'll be nice as well. Because I did my Christmas list yesterday, and oh my goodness, do I have a lot of knitting to do.
I've done it in the past, and I've never marked everything off the list. I'm just not making one this year. It's one of those, la 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 la,
yeah.
You're not there. Although I do need a good gift suggestion for my postman. The gentleman who delivers my mail is awesome, and we get a lot of packages, and so he's never complained about it. We do a lot of pickups and stuff, and he's great about it.
I think fingerless gloves will be great. Do you not think so?
I've done that before for Kobe, you need to talk to Michael, not to me. I'm recording. Then if he said yes, then yes. Sorry.
I bet you he really said no.
We did fingerless gloves last year, and I've done them for my post person when I was still in Mississippi. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a knitted gift. But if any of you, like I know Eloise used to work for the postal system. I don't think she delivered, though. But either way, if you have a good gift idea for a post person, I would love to hear it.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. So I have a tiny little wee bit of spinning. I'll show you.
Yeah, I want to see. I'll reach in and get my wee bit of spinning, too.
I took the locks that I showed you guys last year, last week, not last year. And I took just a little bit, just like maybe a staple length, maybe an inch wide. And I washed it. And it was really clean because it only took one soapy wash for it to be clean. And then I rinsed it. And then I flick carded it with a dog brush because I'm fancy. And then
you can use your cards to flick card too.
Yeah, but they're too big and I just want something small.
Oh, okay.
Anyway. So I flick carded them open, and then I spun them on my matchless. I was going to spin them on a spindle, but I figured if I was going to do a sample, I wanted it to be as true to the way I would spin the bulk of it as possible.
I think that's a good plan.
So I spun it on the matchless, and it went so fast because it was just this wee tiny bit.
Yeah.
And
so how long do you think the staple length of those locks were when you...
Maybe 3 inches.
Okay.
Give or take 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
They were not very long.
And you just spun them repeatedly, like tip to butt, tip to butt, tip to butt, and you did that consistently?
Yep.
Okay.
I kept them in the same direction. Although I do want to play around with carding them, taking a sample and carding it, and then taking, I don't know, I think they're too short to be combed, but I want to try those as well. They are too short to be combed, I would say. So who knows? We'll see. But anyway, I spun it and plied it, and it's a really lofty, I did spin it worsted, but it's still a very lofty yarn, and it's been washed as well. But I think what I might do, it's just a 2-ply, I might do a sample in a 3-ply and see how I feel about that, because this is way too thin for my taste. I don't want to knit a sweater out of something this thin.
Okay.
Or a vest, so I might do a sample in
I did sample in a 3 and a 4.
Yeah, I could do a 4 as well. So
you can cheater sample a 3 by folding it. So when you cheater sample for a 2, you take the middle and fold it over. When you cheater sample for a 3, you take it here, you fold it into thirds, and that'll give you a good idea of what it looks like.
Well, I figure I don't have anything specific in mind, so I'm just going to play with it and see what I end up liking and see what happens. And I ended up with like 7 or 8 yards of a little bit, so that's really cute. Nice and stretchy, so I really enjoyed the process, but again, it was this much, so we'll see if I enjoy the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that's all of my spinning.
Well, I took a workshop with Patsy Z, and I took spinning worsted and woolen on one day, and then on the next day I took spinning silk. So I had a total of 16 hours spinning, and what I spun in 16 hours was that. I have some bigger samples about the size of your samples. Your little sample that you just did, but this is primarily what I spun. So what we did was, for spinning woolen and worsted, we had 4 different breeds, and we looked at staple length, crimp per inch, all the things. So, for example, this is CVM. This is dirty CVM. This is clean CVM. My expected trait for CVM should be 3 to 4.5 inches staple length. These were actually 2 3/4. I spun them flicked and then carded. So here are the flicked 2-ply, the flicked 3-ply average twist, and then a 2-ply control of the carded. So, and that's what we did for CVM, Cormo, Polworth, and something I didn't write down. Coopworth. I should write that down. There's my little Coopworth samples. Dirty and clean. And we went over how to determine how to do the counts on the drive speeds and a bunch of just interesting information. And here's my Cormo samples of a 2. So my 2 looks a lot like yours.
Mm-hmm.
And this was combed fiber. So 2, 3, and then a 4. And I think I actually like the 4 best. And then this is the Polworth 2, and then 3 and 4.
I like the idea of doing it on cards like that.
Yeah.
It keeps it nicely organized.
Yep, and it's got a lot of information. Like preparation before spinning would be if you divided the braid, if you did whatever, drafting style used, ease of drafting, opinion, breed, fiber length, luster, and then fiber size. So it was interesting, and I spun these on my sidekick with a 6 3/4 on my big whirl ratio. So that was the first day, and then the second day we did silk, and I will tell you my favorite silk to spin is probably, I haven't spun them all, so we got 12 samples, and of the 12 we spun 4 there, and I have another 8 to go. So this is my degummed cocoons. We learned how to degum cocoons. So silk is made by little worms, caterpillars, really, I would say, that create cocoons before they turn into moths, and they are snuffed a lot of times. There is a more friendly silk version, but a lot of times they are killed before they hatch from the cocoons. And you cut open the top of the cocoon, kind of like you would slice the top of a hard-boiled egg, or a soft-boiled egg. And you take out the bug, and then you throw them into a pot with a lot of stuff, and because their spit is what hardens and keeps their shape, you get rid of that spit, and then it becomes silk, and you can spin it. So this is dyed degum cocoons, and we actually spun these from the cocoons. This is Bombay Noil, plied with degum cocoons, just Bombay Noil regular, which is a very, should be around $1 to $1.15 an ounce. It's added a lot of times to bats. It's real short staple, kind of like a cotton. See, I had to tape it down. We did dyed hankies, which are my favorite, and those have been put over, they're cocoons that have been shaped over something. Then Tussa Top, which is the gold, which I also really like. It's a honey colored. And here are my hankies with my Tussa Top, which is probably my favorite sample of the whole thing. So very cool. And I want to get more Tussa Top to spin. I still have to spin Bleach Tussa, Bombay Mori Top, Muga Top, Red Airy, White Airy, Recycled Sari, Tessa Noil, and then the cocoons that we actually did in class. So just a hint, when you buy cocoons, if you're looking to buy dyed degum cocoons, make sure that they've gotten all the little bugs out of them, because sometimes they'll just throw them in the pot with the bugs in them, and then you get to pick out bug pieces, which is what these were like. And I think, you're losing because it's done by weight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like skirting a fleece. You're losing some of the silk weight to bug weight, which is never cool. But overall, really interesting class. Learned lots of stuff about fiber that I wasn't as familiar with. So very, very cool. And that's all my spinning, all those little samples. And lots more fiber to sample and spin. So very cool. We do have a book review, yes, and that is Cascadia by Amanda Milne and Fiona McLean. It was sent to us from Cooperative Press, which is very nice of Cooperative Press, and I would have bought this one even if they hadn't sent it to us, so I was very glad that they sent it to us. Because looking at the previews for this book, I was very, very into this book. I did not look up a price, so I'm going to do that right now as Leslie talks a little bit about it.
Okay.
Did you know that you were going to talk about it?
I didn't, but that's okay. So, as per our typical review, we're not going to go through every single item in here. We're just going to sort of highlight the things that we really loved. And one of the first was this very sort of specific design by Jane Richmond called Beacon Hill.
I love that sweater. It's very similar, like, color-wise. It's got the, like, Gramps cardigan sweater type
It
style.
almost makes me think of Jane Austen, just the style of the collar. I don't know. It varies in size from 30 to a 50-inch bust. And it's got a stitch pattern that she developed that's meant to look like raindrops, which I think is very clever. And it looks like a top-down cardigan.
So before we get too much into this book, there is a table of contents that's picture-driven. And the theme of this book is Cascadia is a temperate region in Canada and the northern United States, defined by the Cascades mountain range. And so it's got mountains, rainforest, ocean, beaches, and it's got a lot of local dyers, but also native designers. And two of the natives to the region are Amanda and Fiona, who made this book, who edited this book. And so with every pattern, like Beacon Hill by Jane Richmond, which I do love and I think is very clever, and I want to figure out, I have to look at that collar because it's very cool. There's a yarny that made that yarn that goes with it. So in that case, it's Sweet Fiber Yarns, which has been on my list for me to try for forever. And it tells a little bit about the yarn that is used, or the inspiration for the designing of the yarn, because yarn gets designed too, as well as the design for the sweater, which is really interesting.
Yeah, the next one that I really like is Britannia, and this goes from newborn size all the way up to a lady's 4X.
Yep. And it's tin can knits.
Yes.
And I love the double picture. I love the colors that they chose for this as well. There is a meat tin can knits. There's a meat section for most of the designers where they answer Q&A, which is very cool. And a really interesting read. And this calls for anywhere from 320 to 550 yards of a DK weight. And they use Sweet Georgia. So then they go into Felicia Lowe and Sweet Georgia.
And it's atypical for them because it's got a sort of drop shoulder design, but I think that actually helps it be more universal across the sizes.
And I think the mesh gives you a lot of ease that you can build in for stretchiness.
Yeah. And the sides are stockinette, so you can add or remove waist or bust shaping. So that's helpful as well.
The next pattern that I like is Red Cedar, which is a scarf.
I like that one a
also
lot,
by Tin Can Knits. What I like about this is not only the gorgeous pattern, but it's larger, so you can use it more as a wrap. But Emma of Everything Old to M, the yarn company, who is actually a person who is in our group, did the yarn. So very, very cool. And it's nice to see a yarn where we know the person who actually dyes that yarn. It's very cool.
She's really nice. And she's wearing the stole in this picture, which is nice. And it's written in two sizes, for fingering and for Aran weight.
So it could be a very quick knit or a very
and for
lightweight.
The Aran weight, it blocks out at 7.5 inches long. Or 7.5 feet long.
Wow.
Huge.
And it uses 2 skeins of Cascade Eco Wool, which I was just at. I wish I had thought about this. I was just at this yarn shop in Mississippi, and they only had 2 skeins, and I really wanted 3 of this lovely rustic brown to do a sweater, and I could have done that.
Version, the nice thick warm wrap.
But I like for like the South, I could do the fingering weight version, and it would be perfect for my climate, or I could do the Aran weight version for like my sister-in-law who lives up north, and it's perfect for your kind of climate. So that works for both of us in a very nice way.
I also like the Courtenay sweater, which goes from a women's extra small to a 3X, and it's knit in a worsted weight, Sweet Georgia. And this is by Megan Goodacre. And it's got some very simple eyelet detailing at the neckline. And it's got a wide boat neck, so you could wear a tee under it.
Yep.
And then it's got some eyelet details on the wrist as well.
And it's got some nice sizing. It goes from a 33 up to a 53. And it's worked in the round from the top down. And she uses short rows on the back neck to make it a little bit of a higher back neck. And those pockets are knit in, which I didn't even notice the pockets. Just looking at it. So very cute hidden pockets. Oh, I see them now. They're down there at the bottom.
Yep, right
very
at
cute.
Her hips.
Very flattering piece. I love the shawl by Judy Marples. I'm a Judy Marples fan. I need to knit some of her patterns, but I love her design aesthetic. And that one is Raven's Nest. So it's just a very cool little shawl that is actually not so little. It's 60 by 20. It uses sweet fiber cashmerino sock, 2 skeins, so 900 yards of your favorite sock yarn would do it on size 5 needles. Just a very, very pretty, good size shawl. Bigger than a shawlette, which is always nice as well. And nice clear charts. There's an up close. Love the up close. I love that there's both from far away and an up close picture. So very nice. On there.
Alright. This one wins for just the oddest name. And this is a man's sweater, and it's my computer's taking a minute. It's Wiccan-inish, I think. And it's a man's sweater with a nice big shawl collar and ribbed cuffs and a hem. It's a nice, simple design.
Yeah, it goes from a 38 3/4 all the way up to a 54 1/4. And the yarn does have a little bit of variegation because it is a hand-dyed yarn. But I think that adds some interest to the design. But if you wanted to do it in a plainer yarn, that would also work out fine. I like the detail. It's almost a brioche stitch on the collar, which I really, really enjoy.
I like the Tidal Flats hat as well. It's a nice, simple, quick pattern in worsted with some really beautiful cables.
Ooh, and it's in a cashmere blend. And it comes in 2 sizes, both a 22 and a 24. It's in Sweet Fiber Yarns Cashmerino Worsted. And she's actually the creative director for Sweet Fiber Yarns. So that's interesting to know. Nice clear charts. Nice big clear charts. Caitlin French always cracks me up. Her pictures.
Look at how beautiful she is.
She's so
fun. And even
fun.
if she wasn't the conventional idea of beautiful, her attitude makes her beautiful. She's always so fun. She's got all of her patterns on Rav, I'm pretty sure, are free, and they're really interesting and cool. She kind of makes me think of Lethal. It's the same sort of really out there, cool, innovative designs.
Heather by Amanda Milne is very pretty. Love the yarn color. The yarn color really makes that pattern pop for me. It has a lace detail panel on at least one of the sides. Let's see if it's 2. It's knit in 2 sizes, 21 or 22 and a half, and uses Indigo Moon Yarns BFL Light Fingering. I love BFL. So some really, really interesting, gorgeous. It uses the fern lace pattern just on the one panel, it looks like. Oh, no, there's 4. There's 4 separate panels. And that's what gives it that little dip on the edge, which is very cute. There's the little dip. So where the lace is, there's that little dip.
So it's like a scallop almost.
Yep. Very cute. So those are the patterns. And this book does retail for $16.95 for the digital download through Ravelry, and $26.95 for the paper version. And like always, Cooperative Press does a wonderful job with editing their books.
And
And
if you don't know who Cooperative Press is, it's a company run by Shannon Oakey, and they help designers who may not otherwise get published get their books out there. So it's a very small, independently run company. So we like to do what we can to support them.
they're very nice. So we have an Ask Me Anything question. And some of this I feel like we might have covered in another episode, recent episode, so we might just skim through part of it, but I wanted to make sure that we
got the questions.
Yeah, we got it. So this is from Knitwise Nicole. And she says, I'm starting on my first colorwork project ever, and since I can't do things halfway, I'm making a sweater, Orange from Knitty, which is a very cute sweater. It's the orange one that's got a high collar. It's steeked down the front.
Mm-hmm.
Any advice on steeking or other colorwork tips? Well, with colorwork, that's a Fair Isle colorwork sweater. I would say to make sure that you are not pulling your floats too tight or too loose. They will pucker if you...
Yes.
So that's something that you really have to think about. If you are getting too tight as you knit your stitches, you can place like your thumb fingernail between and start spreading out the individual stitches, and that'll help loosen that up. Leslie's the only person who steeks in this relationship, but I did go to the designer's Q&A, and she said because it uses Bugga, which is a super wash, to definitely do machine steeks on that one.
Yeah, so for anybody that doesn't know, steeking is when you cut your knitting, and you do it intentionally. Typically, you will knit a cardigan in the round, and you would knit it with a natural wool with no animal or no plant fibers in it, non-superwash.
Something that's going to give a little grab.
Right. Then the scales of the fiber will catch together, and they'll hold on better. If you've got a superwash, then those scales have been chemically stripped from the wool, so they'll slide apart more easily, and you don't want that if you're going to steek. So you would use 100% wool. You can do it with non-100% wools. You just, like Laura said, you want to machine knit or machine sew on either side. And there's no way I can show you that right now. But just search on YouTube. I'm sure you'll find a tutorial. But you want to, on either side of the row where you're going to cut, you want to take your sewing machine, set the stitch length really, really short, and go slow and sew down that row, and then do the same on the other side. It'll be kind of awkward putting a cardigan through, but do that, and then you can cut with no fear. I do recommend tacking down the cut end with a ribbon or something and hiding those frayed ends so that you don't get the urge to pull on them. And like Laura said, for color work, I would be mindful of your floats, and everybody's got different opinions. I'm sure there's a right way to do it, but when I'm doing color work, I tend to catch my floats every 3 stitches. If I'm not knitting with that color, I'll do a catch on it so that there's not long strips of it.
So another thing would be consistent. If you're using 2 colors, whether it be in 2 hands or in one hand, you want to make sure that one color is always on the top and one color is always on the bottom, and you want to be consistent with that as well, because it brings it to dominance-wise, color-wise. It'll bring one to the foreground, one to the background.
And it might be, as much as people hate hearing the swatch word, it might be worth it, because what you can do is with your color work section, is the sweater a yoked color work sweater? Or...
It's yoked at the top.
So you might take a 4-inch section, and you might cast on, 100 stitches or whatever in the round, and knit a couple rows in your main color, and then knit one instance of whatever your color work pattern is, maybe 10 rows of it, where the dominant color you keep in your right hand, and then maybe knit a couple rows of the gray, and then switch and put the dominant color in your left hand, and then you can bind off, and you can steek the sample, so it'll give you a chance to learn how to steek, and it'll really show you the difference in how your dominant hand plays with which color pops to the front. I didn't do that on my the first Elizabeth Zimmerman sweater that I knit, and it's very obvious because the cuffs, I held the dominant color in a different hand on the color work on the cuffs, and it pops at you. It's so obvious. So, anyway, what's our
So
next?
that's color work. What was your first knitting project? For me, my mom started me on socks, and then my first by myself was a garter stitch scarf using like acrylic, almost, I don't want to say novelty, but it was an acrylic yarn that had pops of different colors. I should find that scarf. I still have it. I'll find it sometime and show it on the show.
Mine was also a scarf, and it was not garter stitch, but seed stitch.
Oh.
Which, yeah, I kind of wanted to kill myself by the end of it. And I think I still have it somewhere. I think it got a hole in it somewhere, but I think I still have it for posterity.
Did we talk about our favorite project ever? I feel like I talked about my red shawl being my favorite project ever, the Wendy Johnson.
Yeah.
And then least favorite in the last year. Mine would be my antler cardigan, just because I was stressing about that yarn so badly.
My least favorite in the last year. I would have to say for me, it was, and no fault whatsoever of the design or the designer, was the Dublin tee. And it's a lacy shell knit in like a fingering weight. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but I don't know why I deluded myself into thinking I could knit a tee that had a cable crossing every 8 stitches. And I could, but I don't want to. So I would have to say that was it. But it's in a drawer waiting to be ripped out. I just haven't done it yet, so.
Any advice for buying quality yarn as a poor college student? So I have a couple of things.
Okay.
The first is you will find yarn shops in your area or online will have sales, especially on Black Friday.
Mm-hmm.
I would check those out. A lot of times yarn shops are looking for people to knit samples for them.
Mm-hmm.
So you wouldn't get to keep that finished object, but if you are more of a process knitter and you would like to do that, you could maybe, sometimes they'll trade for other yarn, like you knit the sample and they keep it. Right. And you get credit. Knitting for doing commission knitting for people would be another way to earn money by knitting that would allow you to buy yarn, but also work with hopefully some fairly nice yarn at the same time. I would just keep your eye out on sales. There are sales all the time.
There's also groups on Ravelry where they will barter for anything.
Yes.
Your old Zelda 3 game that only played on Nintendo, they will trade you yarn for that.
Yeah.
There are groups out there where you can barter for anything. And I would also say, if yarn is what you want, then maybe tell your significant other or your family or what have you that,
do a wish list. Etsy allows a wish list feature. The Loopy U has a great wish list feature. I'm sure Webs or other websites around Christmas. My local yarn shop used to have a wish list where you would go in and write things down on a 3x5 card, and they would keep that for people going in.
Yeah. And I would also say to hit up your local Goodwill or thrift shops, or sometimes estate sales. Because a lot of time, if a knitter or a crafter or what have you passes away, people don't understand the value of yarn or sometimes fabric or needles or what have you, and you can use that to your advantage. I mean, it sounds terrible, but it's true. I mean,
at least they're going to a good home where they're going to be loved and used.
Tuesday Morning sometimes has good yarn. Which is a sort of a discount shop here in the States. But I've found things at Goodwill before where you'll get like a huge bag for $10 or $5 or whatever. Yeah. Estate sales, Craigslist, you'd be surprised. Shopgoodwill.com.
There's 3 more questions, okay?
Yes.
How do you keep in touch with long-distance friends if you don't have a podcast? Which is hilarious because most of our really good friends don't watch the podcast.
And I'm totally fine with that. I don't expect anybody I know to watch this show. So I'm grateful, but...
I do it on Instagram a lot because I follow people on Instagram or on Facebook. I make a point of trying to text people. I wish I was a better letter writer. because I
like
think
Mel writes a lot of letters.
yeah, I wish that was the case, but also every once in a while I'll text some friends and say, hey, want to get on a Google Hangout and talk? And Google Hangouts are free, and you can select the people who are joining, and y'all can
Set a
sit and
monthly
get
date,
together.
like a
Yeah.
monthly VKN date. I also am a serial texter. I text all the time, but I work in an office in a cube, and I troubleshoot like software problems. So a lot of the times I'm waiting for something, so I'll fill that time.
It's a hurry up and wait type job.
Yeah, so I'll fill that time by texting random people and saying, "Hey, what's going on? How's your dog? How's your family? You know, what are you knitting? That sort of thing." So technology makes it easier to do it now than it used to be.
And I Skype with my nieces, usually around once a week. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's lots of fun. Who is your favorite author?
Oof.
I know.
It's not a knitting author.
Go for
if
it.
I had to choose one person, it would be Neil Gaiman, I think. Because he's very broad. He's sort of scattershot. He writes a lot of everything.
Yep. That's very true. Everything from picture books to comic books to
dark
adults.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I would have to say if I had to pick one, it would be him. What about you?
I really like, and actually this was so funny, this was someone put in the thread, I really like Alana Andrews. She's someone, her and Patricia Biggs, I never miss a book. So for adult authors, definitely them. I got a new Susan Cooper book in the library today, who's one of my absolute favorite. When it comes to kid authors, a lot of the kids authors I like are ones, strangely enough, that my mom used to read to us when we were on car trips. So anytime we took a long car drive, we would hear from the mixed up files of Mrs. Besley Frankenweiler, A Wrinkle in Time, The Dark is Rising by Susan Cooper.
Your mother read to you while you... Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't mean that distastefully. I mean, you had a good life.
Every single car trip, as my brother would kick the back of her seat for 7.5 hours. Because we had a pop-up camper, and we'd go camping for a week or 2 weeks every summer. And
Your
those
mother
hours in
loved
the
you.
car were spent either listening to an audiobook when we got older, or my mom reading to us when the technology wasn't there. So.
Toby, if we go on long trips, like we're going down to Mississippi for Thanksgiving, so we'll listen to an audiobook probably. Yeah. But I can't imagine reading to him. I don't know if I love him that much. Is that a terrible thing to say? Like, that's a long
she would
trip.
read like a chapter every
couple
3 hours.
Yeah.
And it would keep us from my brother pulling out my hair, which happened on a trip.
You did color him blue. I mean.
Or my sister getting a hold of scissors and cutting someone's hair, or there was a lot of things involving
I like how you're the innocent in this story.
Of course. As it should be.
And what's the favorite TV show of the moment?
TV show. Right now, what I'm addicted to is Once Upon a Time Alice in Wonderland and The Voice. Those would be my two.
Voice.
I know.
You and CeeLo, man.
Seriously.
He's not on it anymore, though,
yes, he is. He is right now. He and Christina are switching every other season with Usher and...
There's some country guy, right?
Blake Shelton.
There you go, yeah.
And Adam Levine.
He's Maroon 5, right?
Yeah. So, I enjoy both those shows. How about you?
Well, I just rewatched all the Call the Midwives. I love Walking Dead, which is a weird thing to say, but it's a really well-written story. Michael and I are on the last 3 episodes of Dexter, the final season. It's the only television show he will watch with me, is Dexter. And I restarted, this weekend, I restarted Warehouse 13 on Amazon Prime, because I was like, I haven't seen this in a while. I'm going to and there was a new season that came out, but I felt like I was behind, like it's been so long since I've watched it. Yeah, there's a new
season, and I can start the new season, but I just haven't yet. So.
Yeah, so I was going to
it's on right now, or it was on over the summer.
And so that's what I'm watching. I tend to go for either post-apocalyptic or science fiction, generally. So.
Yep. Our Halloween Cal is over,
yes,
which was amazing. Love it. And in there we had
over 1,000 entries.
1,011 entries, and we have some prizes to give away.
Yes.
So the first prize, y'all better be good at multiples of 25.
Seriously. And be patient with us, and if you're not waiting for a prize, we'll see you next week.
Yeah. We have a couple things to discuss, but yeah, nothing major.
Alright, between 1011 and 2. Ooh, that's not right.
2 and 1011.
Alright, so there's no numbers listed. Between 2 and 1011.
And the first prize we're going to give away is there are 2 copies of the Pumpkin Fairy pattern by Jessica Anderson. So that is the very first thing that we are going to give away, and it is 933, which is...
It'll be 3 back from the last page.
Let's see. I'm actually going to cover your face for right now. I know. I don't know why I thought 17 was the correct number, because that was not. So 38, page 38, and it was 933?
933 is correct.
It is a cute little... Oh, it's Lucas! It's a cute little... This is so funny. He can... Okay. I wish he'd won a bigger prize because he's local to me. And I could have just given it to him. So it's Lucas 563125. And he did a little coffee sleeve in Halloween colors.
Is this the guy who used to go to Hank's?
It's not Benjamin, but Lucas. So yes,
okay.
another young gentleman. I would say probably 16, 17 knitter. So very fun.
Alright, so I'll generate the next number is 466. I'm doing some math, and that would be on page 18 or 19.
Okay.
19, I think.
466. It is on 19.
I got a calculator, and I'm dividing by 25. I am fancy.
You are fancy. I love it. This one is Artist Maybe. It is a purple, like, cowl, like a big long cowl that's also very wide. It's gorgeous, and it's Halloween because purple is a color associated with witches. The lovely model, and she is lovely, is not a witch, but her lovely daughter. So Artist Maybe, you won the other Pumpkin Fairy pattern. So just PM me, Lala, on Ravelry, and I will hook you up with Jessica, who's a wonderful designer, and y'all should check out her other stuff. The next prize is this gorgeous, huge knotted bag.
From Diane of the Knotted Bag.
Yep,
all right,
from
so
Diane of the Knotted Bag.
This is 466 still, so we'll generate, it's 304, so that should be on page 13, I think.
Alright.
Tablet is dirty.
304.
Oh, crap, what did I do? There we go.
Oh, there's so many cute things in here. This is Woolly Eyes, and she constantly gets holes in her socks from walking around her home. So this Halloween, while she awaits the knocks on the door, she has sock protectors on her feet. They are the hand-spun, non-felted slippers, which are just right for the season, and they are very, very cute. And they are out of hand-spun. So congratulations, Woolly Eyes. Contact me, Lala, and that can go for everyone. Contact me, and I will get you your prize, unless Leslie's got the prize at her house.
What did you just give away?
I gave away the knotted bag. Do you want to give away
right.
one of your prizes, or do you want me to continue give mine?
We'll do the Madeline Tosh Pashmina in the worsted weight, and we'll do, that one is number 55, so that should be page 3. It smells so good.
Oh, it's a Jinx. It's No Knit Sherlock.
Oh,
and
cool.
it's one of her Jinxes. So No Knit Sherlock. Contact Leslie. You don't call me Les. This one is purple and orange and super cute.
She designed that pattern, didn't she?
She did.
Yeah, I thought
and she's got a pumpkin with these big grinning teeth as her avatar, which is so appropriate. Do you want to pull a prize, or do you want me to pull one of my prizes?
Go ahead. We'll switch off.
I have some gorgeous yarn from Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. I always want to add a sock in there, and it is candy corn. So you can make some gorgeous self-striped socks for next year for Halloween.
Oh, crap. What did I just
Or just for fun. Candy corn can be totally year-round.
Alright, so this is 510, and that's going to be on page 21.
510. And that is J Knits 51. And she has a gorgeous cabled orange hat, which is the Helen's Knots of Love cap, and it is out of Karen, and the colorway is pumpkin, so it works
Oh.
perfectly. So Jane Knits 51 contacts me, Lala, so I can mail this out to you. Get your address.
All right, next we'll do Dancing Dog Dye Works in the lovely waltz worsted in the Maisie and Bella colorway, which is a beautiful mix of pinks, blacks, and reds and whites. And the generate number says that one is going to be 334, which should be, I think, 14. Yeah, 14.
$334, which is Lindsay, Lindse, and they're socks for her husband. She must love him a whole bunch. The pattern is pinstripe sock, and it is Countess Ablaze High Twist MCM, which I've never heard of before. So that's a very cool. Okay, very cool sock yarn. And they are green and purple and orange and black and perfect Halloween colors.
So contact me with your shipping address and I'll get it sent off.
And then I have a ball of Lacy Lamb in a gorgeous orange colorway. The Humberto fur is free.
And it is going to number 576, which is page 24. Can you see Laura? Ha ha ha.
Am I a screen within a screen within a screen?
You are.
Yes. What was that, 576?
576.
Oh, it's the first one. It is a gorgeous Halloween stripy colored sock. I think it's one of the Desert Vista Dye Works colorways, perhaps. And MZ Purple is the person who posted them. They are a Halloween stripy color sock, and they are gorgeous. Nice little heel flap on them. Very, very cute. And very high. Nice job.
Okay. Next up, we'll do the Cyborgs Craft Room, which is from Megan. And it is in the Nice Melons colorway, which apparently was a breast cancer awareness thing.
Oh, fun.
I got a text from her about it. That goes to number 50, which should be on page 2.
Ooh, the bottom on page 2. I love how Revelry has the go to the top of the page. I wish they had a go to the bottom of the page. I'm so lazy. I'm stretching my finger going back.
Scrolling, it's such a pain.
Oh, it is a cat hat. It's a dinosaur cat hat that is the best thing ever. It is Baby Monster's Very Scary Bonnet, and it used scraps of lily, sugar and cream, and purple and green. It is a crochet pattern, so yay for the crocheters representing. Awesome. And his monster, her monster cat, who is 19 pounds, dressed as a purple and green dragon for Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
You have to go see this picture. It's post 50. It is Wallaroo. And so Wallaroo, if you will contact Leslie, she will get you her Nice Melons colorway.
Nice Melons.
And then I have a book. It is the Knitter's Life List. So if you would draw for that.
Yes, sorry, you're waiting for me. Aren't you? 544. And that's going to be on page 22.
Scroll, scroll, scroll. What was it again? 544. 544. 544. Jabba Johnny keeps putting in all these pictures of her adorable children dressed as minions. Alright. It's actually the next one. It is Kelly M. Schmitz. And she has these cute orange and brown socks. And they are warm socks for trick-or-treating for her little man. So they're for her child. Very cute.
Alright. And I'm going to go out and lock the Yarn Whisperer thread.
Go for it.
So totally forgot to do that before we stopped.
That's good. We're still doing that. The Yarn Whisperer thread, I had so much fun reading all the comments. There's just some wonderful books that I had honestly forgotten about, and a ton of books that I have added to my must-read list. So very, very cool. There are 355 entries, and that is for this wonderful Clara Parkes book.
All right, let me.
Which is autographed, which I purchased at a cute little bookstore in Nashville.
All right, so there's no number listed, and it is going to be between 2 and 355. And we're going to generate the number 246.
I was amazed at how many To Kill a Mockingbirds there were.
I would say that should be on the 10th page.
Yep. Let's see. 246. It is on the 10th page. And the winner is Mrs. Tien, 2006.
Oh, we know her!
We do. She went to SSK this past year. That's Tracy. And I actually taught Tracy how to spin, class at Hank of Yarn almost 2 years ago, I would say. So she's very, very sweet. I see her at Middle Tennessee Fiber Fest in May a lot of times. So Tracy, if you would contact me, and I'm so happy that your favorite book is The Hobbit, because that is one of my favorite books as well.
I saw the preview for the next one when I went to see Ender's Game, and it's something Smog.
Yes. That's the dragon's name.
I don't know how they can drag this out. I mean, whatever. If you like Tolkien, more power to you. But
so
holy crap, they're dragging this thing out.
Also, CNN had an article today about favorite books in honor of October being some kind of book month. I don't know. It's not banned books because that was last month. But they had a lot, and I love all the Barbara Kingsolvers, because Poisonwood Bible is one of my favorites as well, and Madeline L'Engle. So many cool books in that thread. So thank you all for playing my little game. I know it was hard to choose just one.
And many people didn't.
Yeah, that's true too. Other things we have going on.
I just wanted to say, I think that we may have to do like once a quarter a general craft along, because I can't tell you guys how much fun I had going through that thread, and like some people baked and some people made costumes for their kids, and one lady made the costume for her dog made out of roving, made it look like a sheep.
Oh yeah, the little pug. It was so cute.
Oh my gosh, I had so much fun going through
there. The Princess Bride costumes were amazing.
There were several where I was like, okay, I'm just going to go send you something from your wish list, because that is there. It couldn't get better than that.
Clicking all the love buttons that there were.
So, I really enjoyed the general craft along. We'll have to do that again, I think.
Yep. And our next giveaway, because we do have one for this week. I'm so excited for this. I almost kept this, y'all.
And that's what I was looking at Shenandoah.
So this is from Wandering Wool.
Joelle.
And Joelle has both this rainbow colorway, which is so awesome. Can you imagine like striping this with a black or something fun or gray? So cool. And then she's also got this Rock Creek sock. The Rock Creek sock is in the Aurora Borealis colorway. It is 100% of a superwash merino, 400 yards. And the rainbowy goodness is North Country sock. It is a 75-25 superwash merino nylon blend, perfect for socks. It looks like you could go from the outside and the inside and get the match if you were so inclined, if you're that kind of person. It is 463 yards, so a ton of yardage, and the colorway is, of course, rainbow. This reminds me of Silly Fruit in the worstest of ways. So, very, very cool things. What should we have the question for this contest to be?
Well, let's see. All right, I've got one.
Okay.
So I'm participating in this thing on Instagram that Silly Fruit, actually, I saw on her timeline, and I totally stole it. And it's called 30 Days of Thankful. So every day you post a picture and you describe what about that picture is something you're thankful for. And, you know, some of them are very heartfelt and serious, and some of them are silly. So I think we should do, in the Wandering Wool giveaway, we should do a thread where everyone posts something they're thankful for, but be as silly as you can be. No typical, I'm thankful for a roof over my head. Like something really silly.
Like wax mustaches.
Yes.
Or Cadbury eggs. I have 8.
Or laughing until you cry. Or until you pee. Whatever. You know? Something silly.
Yep.
So we'll do that in the thread.
Okay. And that thread will be on our Ravelry group. We do not accept contest entries on our blog. Typically they start with the word contest, Wandering Wool would be this one.
Yep.
We ask that there be 1 entry per person. You must be a member of the group to win. Any chatter, I've had to delete some chatter lately, guys, so any chatter will be deleted. Whatever, I almost chattered on the book thread like 18 times. It's not a big deal, but I'm just throwing that out there. I'll delete it. And, so don't get mad when I delete your stuff when it's not on topic. I'm warning you right now. I just totally used the teacher voice on you. What else? 1 entry per person, must be a member of the group, must follow the prompts. We will draw next Sunday, which will be the 10th. I know that because I have a baby shower to go to. And the next day is book fair night.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. So I had to send out 1,100 flyers today for book fair family reading night. So that was fun. Stapling them to the little Scholastic book fair flyers. That's why I have children working for me. So we will close the contest then, and it will be wonderful as always. We do have an Expand Your Horizons for November. It is Dorset. Expand Your Horizons, if you're new to... We don't talk about it very often because it's every other month, and we are forgetful people, and sometimes we don't participate. So,
but we really enjoy reading when you do.
Yes, we do. We actually, Leslie and I both ordered our wool for this spin-along. It's a very extremely informal spin-along. We pick a breed every other month, and next year it's going to be techniques and breeds.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
After this year's is over.
Yeah. Yeah, in December sometime. And so we pick a breed. This time it's Dorset. We'll talk about some characteristics of the breed. We'll spin the wool. We got our wool from someplace in Great Britain.
It was on Etsy.
It was on Etsy. It's a really good
Hilltop Cloud.
Yes, Hilltop Cloud, who's wonderful. And she's already shipped it. I ordered it, when? 2 nights ago?
Maybe. Yeah,
and
Saturday,
it shipped,
I think.
Yeah. So I wanted to go ahead, and she had some wool for one of next year's as well. So I went ahead and ordered that. And, yeah, so that's going to be a fun breed. I was reading about them the other night. There are several different types of Dorsets. It's a larger breed. So, there's like horned, and there's all kinds of different kinds. So all those different kinds count. And I will open a thread for that maybe tonight as I upload this.
As you upload this.
I'm putting it in the Dropbox. It kind of counts. I have to sit here and wait for it.
Oh.
I almost just said something mean to you, but I'm speaking with good purpose today. We do the 8 keys of excellence at my school, and they're, let's see if I can remember them all.
Wasn't there a song about this?
No, I don't know, maybe. No,
you went to, like, the convention center, and there was a song, right?
Oh, no, that's a different one.
Oh, okay.
That was so 3 years ago. This is a new thing. So it is Speak with a Good Purpose, which is my favorite, because I say that all the time, because my middle schoolers do not speak with good purpose all the time. Integrity. This is it, meaning that this make the most of every moment and do your most excellent work now versus waiting till later. Be flexible. There's little motions that go with this one. So be flexible. That's 4. I remembered 4. Yeah, there's more. And I'm not going to be able to say them now. But those are the first 4. And those are my favorites. And we do positive behavior reinforcement thing at my school. So I give shout-outs for kids and teachers, and other teachers give shout-outs, and kids give shout-outs. I've gotten 2 shout-outs this year. So.
Not that you're keeping track.
No. It's you know, it's so silly because they say, whatever grade you teach, you start acting like. total middle schooler all the time. I'm like, oh, my name's being said on the announcements in a positive way. Yay! And my kids, like, I get a big smile on my face. My little library helpers are like, you are such a dork. I'm like,
and whereas I work in a
jealous.
cube with 3 other people in the cube, and I hear things like today, I heard 2 priceless things. And one of them was, what do you catch? They were talking about fishing. And they said, what do you catch eels with? Other eels? And I was like, I don't think that's
What do
accurate.
you catch eels with? I'm Googling it right now. Continue with your story.
And then the other was, they were talking about some type of sea creature that eats another sea creature's young. And they said, oh, anything that eats your babies is a bad thing. And I'm like, why does this need to be said? Yes, of course, anything that eats your babies is a bad thing. So
They actually sell eel bait. I don't know what it's made out of, but they sell it on eBay.
Isn't
Eels
there a
prefer.
screaming eel?
Well, if you then you'd have to throw some highnesses overboard. Eels prefer dead bait, apparently, but yet occasionally strike a live small baits.
Okay.
You have to put. Yeah, that's all I got.
I think we've gone just a wee bit off topic, although we do now have a show name. We'll
Eel
just call
bait.
it Eel Bait. But yeah, we're over an hour by a significant amount. So I'm going to say I still have to go and make dinner. So
I have a 2-hour presentation that I have to prepare for tomorrow.
Eek.
Because it's a teacher work day and I'm doing a 2-hour presentation about something. So I should actually make those handouts.
You should probably do that.
Yeah.
So y'all have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again on the 11th.
Bye, y'all.